Good evening, future officers. Welcome back once again to Toppers Academy Morung Express newspaper analysis for the 20th of February 2026. I hope you all are doing well and preparing with consistency and determination. Today marks the end of this very month, and it is a good time to pause and evaluate your progress. Consistency is in newspaper reading, structured note making, and regular revision are the pillars of a strong current affairs preparation. So when you're going through this newspaper analysis, it's not only about analysis or say for your answer making, but it is also very essential part of your current affairs preparation. So if you have been disciplined throughout this February, you have already strengthened your foundation to some extent. In today's session, we will analyze the Morung Express with a sharp and exam-oriented approach. So focus on identifying the issues related to governance, policy implementation, economic developments, social concerns, and state-specific matters relevant to Nagaland and the Northeast. So as you follow the discussions, remember to identify the core issues behind each news item, link it with relevant constitutional or policy frameworks, understand the administrative challenges involved, think of a balanced and practical way forward. So before we close the month, make sure that you revise your February notes thoroughly. Revision converts information into retention, and retention builds confidence in the examination hall. So stay disciplined, stay focused, and continue your preparation with renewed determination as we move into the next month. So let us now begin today's analysis with clarity and purpose. The NGTA to intensify protests from March 2nd, mainstreaming approved, but salary funding structure unchanged, says Chief Secretary. So this is a continuing issue and the process that the protest is going on, and we know how it started. We know how it started and what is it all about. So the revision is morning chavo. It is regarding the uh, Nagaland government teachers that they even went to the extent of protesting and 2 days spent on strike. After that, they have continued this indefinite protest as well. So it is regarding this issue here that is given here that we will be discussing. Okay. So with no positive response from the authorities, the Nagaland Government Teachers Association has announced an intensification of its ongoing protests. So the agitating 2010 and 2013 pages will hold a fresh demonstration on March 2nd at Naga Solitary Park, which is in Kohima. So the NGTA Nagaland Graduate Teachers Association members have been staging a protest outside the Directorate of School Education, Kohima, since February 26. Their primary demand is the inclusion of the salary components into the state non-development expenditure. So it was at primary demand. Their primary demand is the inclusion of the salary components in the state non-development expenditure. Meanwhile, a high-level committee chaired by the Chief Secretary Sendiang Imchen was held on February 26 to deliberate on the issues of the salary placement for NGTA. Among those present were the Commissioner and Secretary, School Education, along with departmental officers, mission directors of Samarka Shiksha Abhiyan, Director of School Education, and OST from Finance Department, and representatives from the Naga Students Federation and the Eastern Naga Students Federation. As per the meeting minutes, representatives from the NSF and ENSF expressed concern over the adverse impact of the teachers' agitation on the classroom learning and the students' academic progress. The Federation urged the government to resolve the matter at the earliest in the interest of the student community. See, government aro teacher machot te do tan ki issue se chule se, no. Government side prabi tan labik ta stand do ase do. Our teachers kan labik ta tagan demands ase dagan labik ta stand ase. Okay, from their own part, tai bi right ase. But you know what? Just like in an event of war, no. Ek the government bralo ek the country larai kurise, soldiers kan larai kurise hulibi macho tikun tukpai gole. It is the civilians, it is the vulnerable maiki pachan. Itu nishina itula situation dibi, it is like they are keeping the students as a hostage. All right, situation to ineolize. It is very sad to see this situation. Kobulibi munna hulibi, you know, muk prato nokoi ki student kan mon turi rakise hostage rakise ko ato noi hulibi students kan ki hostage rakina taijun khilia nishina holai. Okay, because it is the student community who is suffering the most. To bra government bi tan ki decide kurla se jaldi kurle pal itu tile nukrina itu oporde even the teachers association they should come up with something alternative that student kan ki man tak to impact nukru lage sabi iter protest kuri thakibo 2-3 months ni protest kuri se exam punctually 2-3 months thakibo itu 6-7 months like 2-3 months te cover kuru try gram de pachang la matha ti kun khusha ho jao okay and your na that student kan tuk pabo so this in any situation of protest any situation of pantna it is not good some or the other people have to sacrifice hostage ho lagi jai okay so idura pan kan protest kan tikman encourage nokore at the earliest paratak solution bisare na amicable solution ekta anile pala se from all the sides. The Department of School Education provided the background on the appointments, explaining that the agitating teachers were originally recruited under a centrally sponsored scheme, that is SSA and RMSA, against the boss created specifically for those programs. So in 2022, following due clearance from the Personal and Administrative Reforms Department and the Finance Department, and with cabinet approval on the 21st of April 2022, the teachers were mainstreamed into the state cadre. Officials highlighted that these mainstream teachers are educationally and professionally qualified and are currently enjoying the benefits of the 7th revision of the pay ROP, including scale pay and other entitlements similar to the other regular state government employees. So the Finance Department also cautioned that if the entire salary component were shifted to the non-plan head of the state budget, the state would lose its eligibility to claim the government of India's share estimated at around 80 crore rupees annually, which would place a substantial burden on the state's exchequer. So it is like this. Takan like the salary is central sponsor scheme la under de tan draw kuresi tak salary to na. To itu la under de almost 80 crores nishina under the centrally sponsored scheme paisa to ayase takan salary tati cover kuresi de 80 crores each year, okay, annually. To kita itu centrally sponsored scheme pra move kurina we bring it to the non-plan budget, that is state budget te ani disuli do ito to send right to 80 crores to nitia ho jao do holbi 80 crores to ita do state budget pra chingina olaw lagibo na ekta chakara do extract kurina olaw lagibo chaka ekta sacrifice kurina to 80 crores loss ho jao sender pra free right daga do 80 crores to ita do sender to 80 crore nitia ho jao state la budget ti kiman ase tate aro effect kurigina 80 crores to tate loss kawo iniga that is the government side laga tanga na finance department pra kwalas de do na so that is what the finance department are stating. And after a detailed deliberation, the chief secretary observed that since the state cabinet had already approved the mainstreaming of the Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan 2010 and RMS 2013 pages, the teachers are entitled to benefit applicable to regular state government employee. So kuisi salaries kan ase ki ROP pay kan ki ase किनेका अलग स्टेट एम्प्लॉइज kan regular employees kan paise tahan bi pawole tu thik ase aro thik time de tiule try ko lage ko ase. So the problem is this, as long as the state ke tu idu cover korna koi dibo de mo explanation de thaibo itu koina bishi de. However, he stated that as long as the Samarga Shiksha Abhiyan and the CSS framework continue to provide the central share of salary, the salary component of these mainstream teachers will not be fully placed under the non-plan head of the state budget. At the same time, the state government will take all necessary measures to ensure regular payment of the salaries. See, tagan ko as long as tagan la salaries kan do under the central sponsor scheme la framework under the ahe poisa tati pra aha din tak tu tagan ke regular state budget la under de nani bo ko ase, okay, because it will have a big impact on the state's exchequer. Holibit, they are also saying that their itu teachers can be equally contribute korese like any other regular teachers na NPSC or conduct korna kungun regular government teacher hoise tahan don iki contribute korese mona state service do itu pra tahan salaries bi thik time de tiwole ensure ko lage. The government should come up and find all other necessary measures to ensure that their salary is also being paid regularly. To kyo boke itia pra luigina tahan salaries kan do late delay no hole karne alag jaga ko nora adjust korna tahan ki tu tirai thakio lage such that when the CSS pra paisa release kor dibo itu ki capacity tari fill kor rakhio lage holi bi tahan salary to pending na rakhio lage ineka korna tahan bi ekta discussion to choice. Holbe still, it seems the NGTS are not satisfied with what the resolution has come up with, so I think they're going to continue the protest. Delhi court discharges Kejriwal Sisodia in liquor policy scam. I won't be detailing any more I won't be detailing very much on this very thing, okay? Mohanbi Jane, TBD Chief Minister Manish Sisodia or Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal of the Aam Aadmi Party, Tajin Gichel Kurdished regarding in relation to a liquor policy, okay? So Delhi to liquor pan taka to khuli thala related ekta thaise that the central agencies, that is one of the CPI officers takapra kuise ki to the Kejriwal and Manish Sisodia, they have taken some benefits from the South group South group to ido labi ekta issue as de moi page 7 de discuss koribo page 7 de South group connect tagan ke cartel kan ase dogan according to the report, okay? Tagan bra itu kan ke exchange for a policy concession matlab itu liquor do olop khul dibi or in return we will give you inigala to inigala til ekta kurina bishide tagan itu corrupt means use korise kona tajungi chel kora ase do holbi Delhi court pra koise itu sob to claim to baseless hojaise itu tajungi release kodise dia. Directorate of School Education reiterates compliance on the school bag weight. I don't know how much should be the school bag weight of a student. If you know, please comment, okay? I honestly don't know. I have no idea about that. Nagaland State among Nagaland State among the few without journalist pension, KPC reminds Chief Minister. Kohima Press Club. The Kohima Press Club has written to the Chief Minister Nephew Rio, drawing his attention to expedite the implementation of a pension scheme for journalists in Nagaland. In a memorandum to the Chief Minister dated February 25, 2026, the Kohima Press Club reiterated its earlier representation that considering the demanding nature of journalism as a profession, the implementation of a pension scheme for journalists in the state is crucial towards ensuring financial security to journalists in their post-retirement period. So this would also be a significant step at acknowledging the vital contribution of the fourth estate to the society. The Kohima Press Club mentioned that almost all the states, including the neighboring state of Nagaland, that is Assam, Manipur, Arunachal Pradesh, Meghalaya, Mizoram, etc., already have their journalist pension scheme in place since the 1990s, and the latest being in 2022, that is Mizoram. So where senior journalists are already enjoying the benefits of the scheme. So Nagaland TV journalism ganke pension ekta dile palopo korna takani to Kohima Press Club pra Chief Minister ke remind korise. Urges the government to regulate the media access. It will be important or interesting as they we will go through it. Referring to the concern recently raised by the Mokchong Press Club over the increasing public confusion between professional journalism and unregulated media content. Kohima Press Club asserted that it held similar concerns. It maintained that it is deeply disturbed at the way the rise of unverified social media contents is creating confusion among the public while consuming news, and also how it is affecting the very profession of journalists who go to the extra mile in gathering news. Regarding this, mubi ekta kobo munjado ajikali saisi kulido abuni microphone ekta kinise phone ekta aje YouTube channel khulibo abuni news reporter ekta ho jabo Instagram de jabo abuni news reporter ekta ho jabo. Okay, but then to be a journalist you should have a degree na proper degree ekta thakile plus ekta license thakibo lagibo na noisuguli to tana media house labi ekta license thakibo lagi, registered license, and most importantly license nalage degree nalage kulibi one most important thing is ethical journalism is important. Okay, ethical journalism is important. Ajikali kun holibi aina news reporter ho jay, so sometimes kono to nichora benefits karne bi na kore do to itu bra itu sob to regulate korai kun hi professional journalism ase kun to news channels kani thik ase aru kun to do tan independent news journalism kora ase itu on sob ekbar para clarify korna itu tuitala difference to rakhile phal ase, and then I think that is also correct. Vice President slams fake news, asks journalists to uphold truth. The Vice President C.P. Radhakrishnan on Friday highlighted the growing challenge of fake news and misinformation, emphasizing that journalists have a responsibility to uphold the truth. Speaking at the 57th convocation of the Indian Institute of Mass Communication in New Delhi, the Vice President called upon mass communication graduates to become agents of positive change in the society. He said journalism and mass communication will play a key role in the country's journey towards Viksit Bharat, stressing the power of the pen. The Vice President said that opinion makers can lead the nation by shaping the right and the positive opinion based purely on truth. Right truth, write truth fearlessly, and you will make Viksit Bharat. Dimapur District Task Force on Immunization gears up for the HPV vaccination launch. The Dimapur District Task Force on Immunization reviewed the global and national scenario of cervical cancer. Okay, with cervical cancer, to be of all focus currently palo for those preparing for immense, alright? Nagaland labi ki status te ase na, or India labi kini ka rate ase ito anso China pala ase, and the importance of the human papilloma virus, HPV vaccination at a meeting held on the DC Conference Hall in Dimapur. Chairing the meeting was the Deputy Commissioner of Dimapur, Dr. Tino Chongshi Chang, NCS, called upon the departments and partners to disseminate information to ensure maximum coverage of eligible beneficiaries. R. Khartu Monsang, Regional Project Officer, United Nations Development Program, presented data on the global status of the HPV vaccine introduction. Citing that the World Health Organization data, he said 155 of the 194 countries have included the HPV vaccine in their national immunization program. In the Southeast Asia region, 9 of the 11 countries have introduced the vaccine. Referring to GloboCan 2022, he said cervical cancer is the fourth most common cancer among women globally, with an estimated 662,300 new cases and 348,874 deaths in 2022 alone. Ito on to CharDB. While HPV infection is common and often asymptomatic, persistent infection can lead to cervical cancer. So the meeting discussed the World Health Organization strategy to eliminate cervical cancer by target year one as a public health problem by 2030. So you should remember the target year. That is one important thing. And then itu tanda break up to ipapara chanili pishpalo or which age category ange itu vaccination grow itu chanili. It aims to achieve 90 70 90 targets. That is 90% of girls fully vaccinated by age 15. Okay, so tan kuche itu age 14 aro before 16 la majote maro gaje. Age 14 or 15 kange maro matlab na. 70% of women screened with a high performance test and 90% of the women identified with cervical disease receiving treatment. So Dr. Ronsen Nongla Timabur Program Officer, Chief Chief Medical Officer Office Timabur informed that the district campaign will target girls aged 14 years, those who have completed 14 years but not yet turned 15. Okay, which means 14 years kan ge target kro 14 hoise guli to tai kibi marwo aro 14 bar loikina few months na tai 15 no agi de complete kro try kro ase and will be implemented for the 3 months at designated cold chain points. I have no or less clue about what is this vaccine all about, but the only thing that is concerning me as an individual at this very juncture after a failed many failed vaccination drives throughout the world these days, that kiki vaccine holi bi bhar tested kurina thik ase koisu kule hi center prabi state prabi to one pass kurina implement kule palo. So I don't know how this vaccine is all about, what is it all about. I have no comments on that one, but then center pra pass kurna state pra pass kurikina Dimapur district tak pra administration pra pass kure ase kule to I hope it is safe enough now. It is a very interesting article. This will be the last point of discussion for today. Okay, itu rakhi thakibi. Mizoram reaffirms 1875 boundary stance amid ongoing talks with Assam. So Assam aro Mizoram la boundary la regarding ase edu taidun la biki issues ase ekta. The Mizoram government on Friday reaffirmed its long-standing position on the interstate boundary dispute with Assam, maintaining that the boundary notification issued in 1875 remained the only acceptable boundary between the two neighboring states. So Mizoram pra 1875 laga notification boundary notification itu thuria ase. Holibi Assam kan pra ki thuria ase gule do. The Assam government continues to adhere to the inner line of the Lusha Hill district and described in a notification issued in March 1933. So Assam gan pra March 1933 de ki notification de olaise boundary do itu hold kore. So Assam gan bi ekta hold kore, Mizoram gan bi ekta hold kore. So there's a deadlock now. Okay. Aro hoi countries around the world boundary in unresolved how to be conflict issue with do. Like Pakistan, India, aro China, India, it don't solve unresolved issues as Afghanistan aro Pakistan bi ita larai chule ase. Itu karni ase. So it can state or state macho dibi itu one issue tha do chakra sakra olai jai. Okay. Itu bra when as no if a case arises for a dispute of the land or water between two states, one state against the other, tai laga so in your comment section likhi dibi in India who resolves the disputes between two states. Okay, resolve between two states. Okay, comment section to likhi dibi who resolves or look into the dispute over land between two states. Okay, in India. Answer likhi today. Pakistan considers itself in open war with Afghanistan, says Defense Minister Asif. A lot funny, interesting like shit I need to mention today. Exam to exactly to naiu pare just for the interesting article or say phrase. I would like to mention this very particular news as well. Pakistan on Friday said it considered itself in an open war with Afghanistan as its forces killed more than 130 Taliban fighters in airstrikes in Kabul, Kandahar, and Paktia in response to what Islamabad described as the cross-border attack by the Afghan Taliban. The 2,611 kilometer long border between Pakistan and Afghanistan. So, it kiman distance junla. They share an international boundary of 2,611 kilometers. And it is known as the Turan line, okay, which Kabul has not formally recognized. Our patience has run out. Now there is an open war between us. Now it will be Tamatam Master Kalandar. Itu to kanala ekta suna Tamatam Master Kalandar. Pakistan's army, very interesting na tang comments to say our patience has run out. Now there is an open war between us. Now it will be Tamatam Master Kalandar. Pakistan's army did not come from across the sea. We are your neighbors. We know your ins and your outs. Pakistan's Defense Minister Khwaja Asif pra inika kuise. His comments came hours after Pakistan's forces launched attack on multiple locations in Afghanistan under Operation Khazab Lil Haq late Thursday night in response to what it claimed was unprovoked firing from across the borders. Media cannot perform its role under constraint, fear, or influence. Justice B.V. Nagaratna. The Supreme Court Judge Justice P.V. Nakaratna on Friday said media cannot perform its role under constraint, fear, or influence, and the most serious threats to press freedom arise not from direct censorship but from regulation, ownership rules, licensing laws, and economic policies. Speaking at the presentation function of the IPI India Award for Excellence in Journalism 2025, Justice Nakaratna, who is said to become the first she is said to become the first female Chief Justice of India in 2027 if she is still alive. So This is going to be very historic. So remember this name. Her name will come up over and over again in the news. And then it is also very important GK that you should know, okay? She is set to become the first woman Chief Justice of India in September 2027. Said the recent trend of attempts to capture the press not only has economic underpinning but also political overtones. In your comment section, please write, when was the Supreme Court of India established? Okay. আৰু এইটো কুৱেশ্যনটো বেছি পাৰিছে NSSB মই টিকি থাকে NPSC পাইছে দেই who was the first Chief Justice of India easy as it সুধি নাথাকিব মানে লিখি দিবি অলৰেডি এক্সাম দি টিকি থাকে তোৰ মই I'm just asking you to comment in the answer in the comment section so that it will be a revision for many those who are new to these examinations. He said that the press outlet may be legally free to criticize the government, yet economically constrained in ways that make such criticism costly or unsustainable. So we know that the ICC T20 World Cup is going on. So India will host Croatia, co-hosted by Sri Lanka. So kita khatam hobo important ho jabo. Morung Athletics to host Asmita Fit India on March 7. So idu ki ase sawo dei. Morung Athletics in collaboration with My Bharat will organize the My Bharat Asmita Fit India sporting event on March 7 at Imgonmaran Sports Complex. Morung as part of the nationwide observance of International Women's Day on 2026. So International Women's Day do also as day. Aro itu question ahi thake March te ase. Advance progress it's between 1 to 10 la majority ekta date as day. So that is the hint. So when is International Women's Day? Okay, International Women's Day 2026, and what is the theme for 2026? That is the question. So mo already charta na pasta question do dise one by one answer kor diu dei. The event is being conducted under the aegis of the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports through the Sports Authority of India and My Bharat. It aligns with the Government of India's flagship Sports for Women initiative. Asmita la full form was achieving sports milestone by inspiring women through action. Asmita is the flagship program under the Sports for Women component of the Khelo India scheme, aimed at promoting women's participation in sports through grassroots engagement and structured competition. So it was safe for now. So coming back to this one and one more article last article power discuss karo phala ase. Ito to just for information day. Holio to do analytical ase aro likha manu bish pala likhe. Excise scam relief and tears as Delhi court discharges Kejriwal and 20 others. CBI appeals in the High Court. So sharply pulling up the CBI for pursuing a case wholly unable to survive judicial scrutiny. A Delhi court on Friday discharged former Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal, his Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia, and 21 others in the excise policy case instrumental in bringing down the Aam Aadmi Party government in Delhi. Among the 21 people cleared in the case that became a political hot potato in Telangana, Jakruti President K. Kavitha is also part of the team. Hours after the verdict by Special Judge Jitendra Singh, the CBI filed an appeal challenging once again it in the Delhi High Court. Several aspects of the investigation were either ignored or not considered adequately in Koyaze, as per the investigation team of the CBI. A spokesperson of the agency said in response to the scathing criticism by the trial court. As news came in for a clean chit in the case that sent him into virtual political wilderness, a relieved Kejriwal broke down Kantevi Kandisha to interview to Tiamdi Olaina and said, like the corruption case against him was the biggest political conspiracy in the history of independent India. The court has proved that Kejriwal, Manish Sisodia and Aam Aadmi Party are Qatar Imandar, the three-time chief minister have said. While Kejriwal was in jail for 6 months, and in the case, Manish Sisodia was behind the bars for almost 2 years, the CBI has been probing alleged corruption in the formulation and execution of the erstwhile Aam Aadmi Party government's now scrapped excise policy, declaring that it found no overarching conspiracy or criminal intent in the liquor policy. The court said the excise policy case, as sought to be projected by the CBI, is wholly unable to survive judicial scrutiny and stands discredited in its entirety. तो CBI बाट की चार्जेस लगाइसे कि इटु लिकर पॉलिसी को तो तान दिल्ली दे लिकर पॉलिसी लिकर तो लेगलाइज कोले खुलविला को तो तान पॉलिसी कोड आइसे ताते तान इंटेंशन तो तान बेनिफिट्स करने थागिसे इनिया करना और इन एक्सचेंज ऑफ फेवर्स करे जे करना CBI ला प्रॉप थागिसे इटु करने केस तो चुल लागिसे खोलिबि द होल केस तो डिफीटेड हुइसे CBI can claim to success one, and then they were not able to defend their claims in the court. So investigation appears to have proceeded on a predetermined trajectory, implicating virtually every person associated with the formulation or implementation of the policy in order to lend an illusion of depth and credibility to an otherwise fragile narrative, it said in the 598-page judgment. So the court also said that CBI can kite to charge sheet can file Corina Tan into investigation through which it is said that it looks like they have already a predetermined planning predetermined trajectory that it case to kill be one la it rule as na. See, when you become an officer as well as when you are placed in a certain position, it is always that you should have a neutral mindset from the very beginning. Right, left, the both parties tinda charta party ke bana sob la khunina bishi de as per the facts and as per the papers ki azi to sab de decision jo lagi. It should not be drawn by your emotions. It should not be drawn by your ideology alone. Okay, be predetermined na thago like case to both side no khunina bishi nijor pabina to tai hi right to inor na aisoli do there will never be a good solution for the problem. So time one neutral thakibo lagyo as an officer, as a future officer, please keep those things in mind. Okay, even though if it is not khali public service ekla tunina abuna nijor life tv or other civil services tv society they serve grounded, you should always keep this in mind as a part of your decision making. So this court, he said, has no hesitation in holding that the material placed on record does not disclose even a prima facie case, much less any grave suspicion against any of the accused person. So all the claims that were put before the court seems to be baseless. Delhi court bulls up CBI for using phrases such as South Group. It would be very interesting, as a Delhi court, which on Friday discharged former Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal and 21 others in the politically charged liquor policy case, expressed its displeasure with the CBI for changing the phrase for using the phrase South Group. Okay, CBI for using the phrase South Group while cautioning it to exercise restraint in its choice of language. So the court also said such a nomenclature finds no foundation in law. Law's la terminology to be usage nai. It does not correspond to any legally cognizable or recognized classification, and it is wholly alien to the statutory framework governing the criminal liability. The court considered it necessary to place on record its concern with the repeated and deliberate use of the expression South Group in a PC use korna the CBI investigation koramde to South Group to kun kana se iku clearly definition ekta nai tilini nai court to South Group itu ki korbo na itu legal terminology to use korna nai government of India la under legally recognized iku South Group korna nai manu asugule manu na mention korbi agency la na masule agency la na mention korbi. What does it mean by South Group, North Group, East Group, West Group? It will be vague as a baseless way. Okay, it will be question court pra. To describe a set of accused person ostensibly based on the regional origin or place of residence. It is equally significant that no comparable regional descriptor has been employed for the remaining accused persons. So the persecution narrative does not speak of any northern group or similar categorization. The selective adoption of a geographically defined label is therefore plainly arbitrary and unwarranted, the judge added. So underlining that a region-based labeling could create a prejudicial impression. Yes, it's kind of a prejudice against the South people, right? So the court said in a constitutional order founded upon equality before the law and the unity and integrity of the country, descriptors rooted in regional identity serve no legitimate investigative or prosecutorial purpose and are manifestly inappropriate. Yes, it is quite inappropriate, I should say, that we cannot label anyone as a south group north group inika ekchun dujun la matter karne ekchun dujun karne mogan na whole south mon mention korna bro, we cannot do that. Okay, naga man ekchun kurisu bole whole nagas ina ko na bro, whole nagaland ko na bro, whole northeast ko na bro, whole east of indian ko na bro. Okay, so it busy vacancy and it's quite baseless. Court directs the departmental inquiry against the CBI investigating officer. So IO ko ite investigating officer again, huh? So a Delhi court on Friday recommended a departmental inquiry against an investigating officer of the CBI for arraying a public servant as an accused while discharging former Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal and 22 others in the excise policy case. So Special Judge Chitendra Singh flagged the lapses in the investigation and said in his 598-page order, the duty of the court is not merely to discount the tainted investigative material, but also to recommend initiation of appropriate departmental proceedings against the erring investigating officer for framing one accused, that is Kuldeep Singh, as an accused. So Kuldeep Singh was actually a commissioner, okay, a deputy commissioner of the excise department in Delhi. So tai laga do tai la against the label crusade, tai la against the ku sabut can be nai, evidence be nai. Okay, so the judge order said such an inquiry was needed, was as there was no evidence against Singh, a former deputy commissioner of excise and IMFL, and that such an action was required, so that accountability is fixed and the institutional credibility of the investigative machinery is preserved. So I don't know why he did that. Maybe it was some political scapegoating, or maybe they have some personal grudges, or hosavital against the claim to not actually do. It should always be supported by some evidence or proof. So once you become an officer, even if you're becoming an administrative officer or police officer, without proof, without evidence to mogan manu kibi claim bi nukro lage, accuse bi nukro lage. If you're accusing, if you're blaming someone, you should have that fake, or you should have that evidence to defend yourself. Okay, will be itu apni ki accuse kursi itu hosa se dikhao par la unlate proof thakyo lage, then only you can speak. So it will be very important ase. Expressing surprise at how, in the absence of incriminating material, public servants, including Singh, were arrayed as accused, and how the sanction for the prosecution was accorded, the judge said. An investigating officer is not expected to act with tactical cleverness or strategic flexibility. He is required to proceed with contour, neutrality, and unwavering fatality to the factual record. Itu kota ase. As an investigating officer, अपनी future officer होइसो को लिए, you should keep this in mind. Okay, you should not be that cunning ones. You know, sides change को ना लगे, neutrality maintain को लगे, और fact to किया से तादी stick को लगे. An investigation must rest on a clear, consistent, and principled assessment of the material collected, and not on calculated ambiguity intended to preserve future prosecutorial options, the judge said. See, this is the beauty about reading daily newspaper. Kung nishina GK kandu current affairs nishina ekta extract kuruli do, it will just be like date ta thakibo pare, date thakibo, nam thakibo. Itu yes do mon. Holbi mon kitya mon news articles so brigna chai. We learn a lot of things that we should keep in mind even in the coming days. So itu kan sob to mon ita learning process as a kung nishina. Amen la training to Kali Administrative Training Institute. No video Shillong they start kuruli noy. There will be other training institutes can start with or preparation. Your preparation of becoming an officer have already started. Okay, and these are going to be something that is going to add value and a nurturing process for you. So daily newspaper reading is also very important. Why India's diaspora isn't coming home? Very interesting article. This person has done a good work writing this article, and I've also learned a lot. I hope you all will learn at least something from this very article. India celebrates its remittances generating diaspora without addressing the governance failure that forced them to leave. A few weeks ago, a post on X stopped thousands of Indians mid-scroll. A user recounted a conversation with a friend settled in Canada, educated, successful, with $500,000 saved, who said quietly but clearly, "I am not coming back." Not because he doesn't love India, but because after years abroad, he has simply stopped wanting to fight for things that should just work. Officially, India loses over 2 lakh citizens to immigration every year. Between 2011 and 2023, more than 1.6 million, that is 16 lakh Indians have surrendered their passport and they have settled in other countries of this world. Our citizenship. In 2024 alone, 2 lakh people renounced their citizenship. India's diaspora, 35.4 million strong, is the world's largest. So 35.4 million Indians are living abroad in some different countries around this world. That is around 3 crores and 54 lakhs Indians are living abroad outside India. In 2024, it sent home. India is the highest recipient of remittances. Okay, so in 2024 alone, they have sent 129 billion US dollars in remittances, the highest of any nation on earth. So India receives the highest remittances from which country and which region? Please comment. ঠিক আছে? India ranks 134th on the UN Human Development Index. In the 2024 World Happiness Report, India ranked 126th. Not 26, not 56, 126th. Okay. It will be out of 144 na kiman countries as they, as far as I remember. 144 to 143. These are not opposition talking points. They are the empirical verdicts of the world watching. We cannot say that ito to opposition la chala se, ito opposition kan la claim se as inabi ko na pare mon. Because ito to manuan research kuri na whole world pra saigi na bishide. According to certain points pa pra hi ito verdict to la se. So these are not lies. These are truth. Okay. Growing in GDP doesn't mean development. Okay. It is just economic growth. Development, it should be qualitative. It should have an impact on the standard of the living of the people of India. So GDP, economic growth like la khota korne ki labh ase. Are tomorrow at the expense of the common man, GDP to grow paru do. Ide income tax 5% loise ko bhi ekta section ke kali 25% uthai dibo, 30% uthai dibo. GDP ti to growth to dikhibo do. National income ti bhi dikhibo do. Taxation uthai dibo. Na, holy be, it doesn't mean that it is having a improvement in the standard of living of the people. Delhi laga air quality improve huise naki, city de improve huise naki, water logging stop huise naki urban areas te. So these are the things that is concerning. Even the work culture is becoming quite toxic in India, I should say. So these are all concerning that the people are deciding to leave India. So size of what the author says. The friction index. The Indians living today are often not the poorest of the most desperate. They are the ones with options, and when people with options leave and stay on, it tells you something catastrophic about the value proposition of living in this country. We all have this sense of patriotism for our country. India is our country, right? So mogan India ke to kili mom nakro. We love India as a country, as our own country. But the problem is, maybe some people, some of the viewers people bhabi thako, oi pahar China thako manas alag country de thakile phalasle iniga. It's not because you don't love your country anymore. It's because of the problems and the way the government is turning a deaf ear to your grievances, to the grievances of the people, the sufferings of the people. And those people, those Indians who are leaving the country, ito kan tu puras of the purgan jano hido. Holibi kun la hate paisa all up to ase, good amount of money ase, that they're having a good wealth all up to ase. Or they have lots of options. Now India thakilo tan aramba comfortable thakilo para manungan ase. Holibi they choose some other country and not India. Why? Ito take the tangori issue ase to. A software engineer who moved to Munich described in this way: I was earning well in Bengaluru, but I spent 3 hours a day in traffic. Nah, ito na sila problems kan. But I spent 3 hours a day in traffic. Breathing air slowly killing me because of the air pollution, and bribing someone for every document. That is, kung kan lau kota korese. In Munich, I earn less, but I have my evenings. I have clean air. I have a Saturday. Call it a friction tax, the invincible daily tool extracted from ordinary Indians just for trying to live a normal life. Delhi's air routinely crosses air quality index 400, which is 20 times more than what the World Health Organization have said is a safe limit, because 0 to 50 is safe, right? A 2023 Lancet study estimated air pollution kills over 2.1 million Indians annually. Just imagine, 21 lakh 21 lakh Indians die each and every year just because of air pollution, and the government is not doing anything for this. 14 of the world's 20 most polluted cities are in India. So this is not a natural disaster. It is regulatory neglect and political cowardice traced as economic pragmatism. The most underreported dimension of India's brain drain is gendered. Women who have migrated cite not salaries but the freedom as their primary motivation. The freedom to walk to a metro at 10 p.m. without calculating the risks, to disagree with a male colleague without social consequences, to not be interrogated at every family gathering about why career matters more than duty. A public health researcher who left for Canada put it plainly: India made me feel like I was living in a constant negotiation for the right to exist on my own terms. Abroad, I don't have to negotiate, I just live. India offers nominal investment return of 9 to 10% annually, double that of the West. Okay, so Western countries the key man returns there, it will be visual at India. Of course, today you invest 1 lakh rupees. Okay, today you invest 1 lakh rupees. Say you're getting a return of 10% for in a year. You're going to get at least 10,000. Okay, Western countries it will be 5%, 3%, which means 3,000 value 5,000 powerless at their return. But still, and yet wealthy non-resident Indians park capital overseas. But the non-resident Indians to tan double buyers only kill India invest no kore. Na kill tan West countries to invest kore se. Despite knowing that India will give you them more returns than what they're getting in the West, it's because policy can reverse overnight. Because what is permitted today may be text or restricted tomorrow through a gazetting notification on a Friday evening. India de आजकल laws can, rules can, policies can do rati comment notia ki pura change हो जाए. Today you will buy some stock. Today you will buy some. You'll do some investment. Tomorrow it might be taxed. Na tatibra abuni kiman gains paise, capital gains or abuna profit kiman paise. Tatibra 40% tax lobo, 60% tax lobo. Ine ho jesi kulido. We never know. Aji ekta free tax na thakala ekta business ase. Tomorrow the government may come and impose tax on that one, 40%, 60%. So it's because of the policy changes. एकदम strong ita na India la policy changes. It is what the author is saying. Policy changes too strong ita na thagi na. It keeps on flipping. We have seen what happened in the demonetization period. Kuishe black money sapa kula se kuishe will be itu. Because of this demonetization, many people have lost their savings as well. Aru kuna tuitula knowledge pi napai na exchange kura khatam kuro na paregi na bi loss hoise. What was promised? The Smart City Mission was launched in 2015. Those who are praying for amends, please study what is a Smart City Mission. Kohe se kohema bi complete hoise kuishe Smart City Mission la project te thaka sob to list te. To itu exam karne bi important ho pare. A decade on, most Indian cities still flood in July. Public transport services serve perhaps 20% of the actual commuting demand, and the drainage system collapsed under monsoon rain. India spends 1.9% of its India's GDP on the public health, among the lowest in the developing world. Developed countries to charbio. Developing countries majo DB India is the lowest in terms of spending in the health sector. So alaksok charbi, like I always say, health education should not be a compromise. Yati pilavina GDP la amount tangor pilavina iti. Invest here, spend here, and try to make as much as possible the education and health to be a right based for the people of India rather than a privilege. Why I'm saying privilege is because tomorrow or today if we fall ill, mon aji treatment ko jaisuli government hospitals can, especially in Nagaland jaisuli will be some other rural India state kan nijor government hospital kan jaisuli to facilities tik nai, machines kan tik nai, kobo city te tati lu jabi, itu tangor hospital lu jabi. To kya mano to tati muru lagi jai to saikina hatte rakhi na muru lete. Any kind of situation ase. So people have to those who have money, they will go to the big cities. They will take the treatment in the private hospitals, no spending crores and lakhs. Only to Kiamanuando, they will just give up and they will just keep on hoping for a miracle, which rarely happens. Okay, and you're not this would not have arisen if there was free medical health care, proper investment in the medical health sector, that all the government almost all the government hospital palbal thai usually manon private hospital kili chao na. So it one soap to consider crew like hospitals can be covid time di we have this infrastructural gap, pisna enough nai oxygen short huise na, it one problems kan ase. Every year, India hosts lavish Pravasi Bharatiya Diwas convention. So Bharati Pravasi Diwas laga date likhi dibi or this year la theme likhi de. Even though I know I won't tell you, just write it in the comment section. We will learn from each other. At least someone will learn by trying to comment on this one as well, right? If you comment it there, I'm sure when you are watching this video, comment section to read cool. And nowadays, double screen PC use kore manoan, that you will open one device that moi lai to news analysis kudna rakhi dewo. Ekta device te either you are watching your Instagram reels or any other chatting and all, aro itu news to chutu ekta te ne khuli rakhi dewo na. Since this is your phone or tablet, you'll open my news here, and downside you'll be chatting or using some Instagram reels or say comment section puri thakibo ina double screen time bishi kodage amigan. So if you're going through the comment section, you will learn. Okay, ito rang moi homework ase. So Pravasi Bharatiya Diwas convention, where ministers celebrate remittances, hand out awards, take photographs, and fly home. What this summit carefully leave off the agenda is the scale of domestic governance failure that made living rational for millions in the first place. If you genuinely want the diaspora, that is the Indian people living abroad, to return, the answer is not more ceremonies. The answer is less corruption, cleaner air, courts that function, contracts that hold, roads that don't flood, officials who do their jobs without expecting gratitude in an envelope. This is very harsh. Okay. One commenter captured the entire debate in a single sentence. Fix the system, not the sentiment. The love for India already exists. It does. The Indians who left are not traders. Most carry India with them, in food, in language, in festivals, in family calls, and an egg that never fully goes away. They did not leave because they stopped caring. They left because they got tired of caring so hard for so little in return. As when we see GST iman pishaze, tax iman pishaze, abuni saman ekta see your income is taxed, your goods are taxed, your services are taxed. Online de ekta kiba kinibo guli tadi bi tax. Abuna nichor la paisa withdraw growly tadi bi tax. Abuna nichor paisa transfer fataguli tadi bi tax. Everywhere tax and tax, but in return what you're getting? AQI 400 plus, holes in the roads, bridge half take up, urban flooding, drainage problem, proper hospitals nai, proper schools nai. We're getting this in return for all these tax. So the question that India's leaders must answer, not at the diaspora summit but in budget allocations, legislative calendars, and enforcement records, is this: why should someone who can live anywhere choose here? Until that answer changes, the planes will keep living full. See, if we build a garden beautiful enough, good enough, okay, butterflies can nolibi alag manogan bi itu garden de odo. Same thing. India do holido, they should stop having ceremonies egla thakule kam nai. Practical realities the problem solve kro lage. Such that manu ekta who can live anywhere in this world but still they will choose or they will want to come to India. Aji, as much as an Indian who wants to live in India but cannot live in India because of many problems, they will decide to come back to India. So we should make an India where every Indian should want to come back to India, not leave India. Okay, so that itu problems to solve no hadak to inikai jai actually do year by year more people will leave India. Okay, itu kweze. So the author is Sachi Satapathy. He is the director of a development evaluation agency and a columnist on governance, corporate health, and social policy. So that was a analysis on this very particular uh, news article for you. As far as an administrator, like I always say, you should always be neutral. You should always listen to all the sides. You should not criticize the government always. Government brabi ki efforts chale ase, government brabi ki kuru para ase, government brabi ki initiative plan kura ase. Itu sob mohan bi respect regard korina. Itu bi profess ko lage. And we should always have this faith in the government. We should be optimistic. Okay, we should have a balanced approach. Aro government laga tala doings to be mon believe kro lagyo, trust kro lagyo, aro process to be mon patiently wait kro lagyo. So let me check your comment section once. This is yesterday's news. Manas full from mental health assistance and networking across states. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, this daily manas to be important thagishe. And NPCC level gishe, NMA bil gishe. Those are preparing for men's na. NMA, NPCC, naka hoho, NSF, ENSF la objective P puribide. Make a note on that one. You're welcome, Foreign Tong Yem Chong. Thank you so much for commenting, and I hope it is very much helpful for the viewers as well. Zapen, you're welcome. You're also quite consistent, I can see. So keep it up. You can also start continue your answering. Alak time you take answer kuda ishe. Ajikali answer lo komti ishe. Since you're preparing for mains, I wish you the very best. Okay. Especially petition is a request. Latok, thank you so much for commenting. It's very helpful. You have to be consistent like this. You'll learn at least something or other. All right. Nongwang Wangsa, erratic rainfall in pretty okay. You've commented very good. Yes, it was a very long class, and I've also thoroughly enjoyed the whole session. Uh, and yeah, yes, I'm associated with Toppers Academy. Okay, even for the offline classes as well. I'm a part of the Toppers Academy. I missed out one day. Comment section 18 na sana mo eh. Ek par side wo. 26 last size ako. Secret Festival of the Angamis is celebrated for 10 days. Yes, Chem 86 in. Thank you so much. Itu kita gise. Bishi helpful as day today. Thank you so much. Okay, very informative. So those are watching the video today. Please go to 26 February 2026 la news analysis stage na comment section di study kro day. Chem 86 in Pratina. Please go through, and if there's some any changes that is needed, any comment ko dibi, we'll look into it. Okay. Bikami marrying another person. Okay, Ashoka. Are Ashoka bi yeti asudo. Thank you so much for replying. Nimtakli, you're following the news good. Thank you. Rovi, you're welcome. Latok, yes, very good. Neset is the parliament of Israel. Yes, very good. Okay, so one new award. Wherever Modiji goes, our honorable Prime Minister ek award to pai. So Tairo Tadibi award pai na. Okay, Ragnarok is consistent, it seems. Mula news sagina Arnelesa sign up side komawana kita to. Yep to, yes, consistent tagiwi, very good. Zapen, you're welcome. So tadi comment section tadi khatam ase. Yeah, exam is very near. New month hobol hoise ajido already. Moi kalda news aji cover korwa ase. Nuli ajido new month ase. And Sundays I take off, okay? So Sunday la do moi rest koro mon ase. But then I try my best to cover at least the 6 days in a week. Aro even on the days that I'm not analyzing, I will নিজৰ বি পঢ়ি লবি মোক কোৱা নিচিনা মৰং এক্সপ্ৰেছ তুলিতো আপোনাৰ e-paper বি subscribe কৰিব পাৰো মৰং এক্সপ্ৰেছ e-paper কোনো website দি যায় না you can do that and those who are preparing for mains your days are very কমতি হৈছে এতিয়াতো just imagine there's just 45 days alright kill in another 5 days to 4 days একলা বাজে 4 to 5 days এটো তো আপোনাৰ রিভিশন কৰাম দে স্ট্রেস দিয়ে যাই যাব 45 days তে আপুনি কি কভার করতে আছে সব করবি তিনটা পেপার আছে divided 15 days টিভি 45 days তো আই যাব okay. So I wish you all the very best for those who are preparing for NPSC and NSSB prelims as well. And that is all for the evening. So I'll take a break. Have a very good night. I'll see you all tomorrow. Thank you and bye bye.